Imagine trudging through knee-deep snow toward a flicker of firelight in the distance. A heavy wooden door swings open, spilling warmth, smoke, and a chorus of laughter into the icy dark. Inside, Vikings pack a long timber hall, horns brimming with mead raised high as flames dance across carved beams. Viking life wasn't only about swinging axes or braving the seas. When winter froze the fjords, these Norsemen and women transformed their nights into bold spectacles of food, drink, and rowdy games. Some gatherings were so daring that sagas still whisper their details more than 1,000 years later. We're counting down 8 outrageous ways Vikings partied, from the mildly festive to the jaw-dropping. Stay with us until number 1, a finale so reckless it could end with applause, or a trip to the healer. Number 8, the Mead Hall. Welcome. Every epic Viking celebration began inside the Mead Hall, a structure that was part dining room, part theater, and part political stage. Archaeologists at Borg, in Norway, uncovered a hall 80 feet long, with charred hearthstones and ornate posts, hinting at decades of roaring fires and feasting voices. These halls weren't built for modest suppers. They were designed to impress allies and intimidate rivals the moment you crossed the threshold. Picture yourself stamping snow off boots as you step through a carved doorway. The glow of the central fire stretches across benches crowded with warriors, farmers, and travelers. Shields and weapons gleam on the walls, while the high seat at the far end marks the host's authority. Even your seat on a bench could make or break your reputation. Status was on display the instant you sat down. One saga tells of a wandering skald who sneaked into a grand hall, hoping to trade a verse for a cup of ale. His quick wit earned him not just a drink, but a prized seat near the chieftain, proof that a clever tongue could elevate anyone on a frosty night. And for you, viewer, that's just the opening act. The Vikings had far wilder tricks up their sleeves. Number 7, feasts worthy of the gods. Viking feasts weren't casual dinners. They were power statements served on platters. Excavations show pork shoulders charred by open fires, lamb ribs seasoned with herbs, and fish smoked to perfection. Goose, oysters, and even bear meat graced tables at high festivals. Cooking pits outside halls reveal that whole animals, oxen or boars, were roasted to feed entire villages. Sagas describe scenes where servants paraded in with massive wooden trenchers, each stacked with glistening cuts of meat. Stews thick with onions and root vegetables bubbled in iron cauldrons, while honey-drizzled porridge tempted children weaving between benches. Bread baked on hot stones released a nutty aroma that mingled with roasting fat and wood smoke. But food wasn't just about filling bellies. It was a show of might. A host who kept guests stuffed proved he controlled fertile land, loyal workers, and trade routes. Imagine watching your neighbor pile another slab of venison onto their plate, knowing they were silently judging your appetite. And we're only on number 7. By the time we reach number 1, the menu of Viking mayhem will leave you stunned. Number 6, mead. Liquid courage. Mead was the golden thread running through every Viking party. Brewed from honey, water, and sometimes herbs or berries, it was poured into ox horns or carved cups, polished smooth with age. Beyond its sweet burn, mead carried a divine echo. Poets spoke of the mead of poetry, a mythical drink said to grant wisdom to those brave enough to sip. Imagine a servant approaching with a horn as long as your forearm, frothy liquid catching the firelight. Guests shouted "Skål" as they toasted fallen warriors, new trade deals, or simply surviving another harsh season. Every gulp invited warmth, laughter, and the subtle dare of one more round. Mini Story, an Icelandic tale, recounts a farmer so desperate to outshine a rival that he filled an entire feeding trough with mead. By midnight, revelers were sprawled on straw, and one unfortunate guest had to be dragged from the trough before drowning in honey wine. And yet, no one thought of slowing down, because at Viking feasts, mead was only the spark. Number 5, the boastful toast. Drinking in Viking halls came with a twist, the bragafull, or boastful toast. One by one, guests lifted horns and promised outrageous feats they'd attempt before the next gathering, slaying an enemy, discovering new lands, or winning a stubborn bride. The catch, failing to act on your vow, meant mockery that could follow you for life. Sagas overflow with tales of bold oaths made under the warm haze of drink. A young warrior might pledge to cross stormy seas, while an older trader vowed to build the biggest ship the fjord had ever seen. Some boasts were playful. Others launched dangerous adventures that shaped real history. Picture the tension as your turn approaches. The hall goes silent, eyes fixed on you, horn heavy in your hands. What daring claim would you make? Drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your Viking-worthy brag. Number 4, drinking games and dares. Once the toasts were done, the games began. Vikings turned drinking into a full-contact sport. Laker, tossing animal bones at targets, left losers gulping penalty drinks as the hall roared with laughter. Guests staged chugging contests, daring one another to drain massive horns without spilling a drop. Some weddings featured a single absurdly large horn that made its way around the benches. Those who faltered earned ridicule, while champions gained bragging rights, and likely a pounding headache. Games like these gave every cup a thrill, a chance to show courage or invite friendly humiliation. A legend tells of a berserker who claimed he could drink more than anyone in the hall. After 6 horns, he collapsed dramatically, prompting his host to declare him the victor anyway. For Vikings, entertainment meant pushing limits, and these contests made sure no guest stayed seated for long. Number 3, rowdy etiquette and brewing trouble. Even the rowdiest feast relied on a fragile code of conduct. Chieftains laid out rules: respect seat order, leave weapons at the door, and don't interrupt the bard. These weren't mere suggestions. They kept celebrations from erupting into chaos. But sagas gleefully record nights when order broke. One tale describes a goose hurled across the room after an insulting joke, nearly starting a duel. Some hosts hired ale keepers, attendants charged with calming quarrels or escorting troublemakers out into the snow until tempers cooled. For you as a viewer, here's the hook. That same balance of joy and tension is what kept people glued to these feasts. Would guests honor etiquette or end up in a midnight brawl? Each party promised a drama as rich as the food. Number 2, music, politics, and power. As tables emptied, halls transformed into theaters. Skalds recited sagas about gods and heroes, weaving humor into tales of bravery. Harps, bone flutes, and drums livened the room while dancers stomped rhythms that echoed off rafters. Entertainment wasn't just for fun. It shaped reputations and alliances. A sharp verse could win silver or seal a trade deal, while a clumsy performance might invite whispers for years. Even a well-placed joke could sway a chieftain's mood or tilt negotiations. Imagine leaning forward as a bard begins a story only told on special nights. You sense it's building to something shocking. But before you find out, you need to stay until the very end, because our number 1 is the wildest Viking tradition of all. Number 1, daring stunts to end the night. The most unforgettable Viking feasts ended with dangerous stunts. Hosts encouraged brave guests to balance across roof beams, leap over glowing fire pits, or drink an entire horn in a single breath. These challenges tested not just agility, but reputation. Fail, and you might spend months living down the embarrassment. A chronicle in the Flata Jarbok tells of a chieftain daring guests to walk a narrow plank stretched above the central fire while singing a victory song. Some succeeded, others fell into soot to the roaring delight of onlookers. The risk only made the triumph sweeter. These finales weren't random. They cemented friendships, displayed bravery, and gave skalds material for future tales. And as you watch, ask yourself, would you risk a singed beard just to win a Viking cheer? From mead halls glowing with torchlight to perilous stunts above the flames, Viking celebrations were equal parts hospitality, courage, and mischief. Which tradition would you brave? The bragafull, a bone-tossing contest, or balancing on a rafter after one too many horns of mead? Tell us in the comments, and subscribe to Civilization Deep Dives for more astonishing journeys through history. Because the deeper you dive, the stranger it gets.